and welcome to the SIHL expansion tournament. Alright, today we're going to be doing the second power rankings. So, this will be a fun one, because there's been quite some movement since last week's power rankings. I'm going to tell you where every team was last week as I do this. So, we'll go 12-1, just like usual. Starting with number 12, we have... We have the Calgary Cougars. So, I do these on the spot, so it's very different from like the hockey ouch, where I get most of how I do this. The Calgary Cougars, they're dead last. They're not dead last in the standings, because that's not what this is. As soon as this video releases, I will put, there should be in the community tab, go check, should have the current standings. I do that every time I do a power rankings and a panic index, although I didn't do it for this past week's panic index. So I can say past week since I'm doing this on a Monday night. For if you're tuning in like tomorrow, like well past this when this video is made, I guess. I don't know. So the Calgary Cougars, they're dead last. So my reason for that is the Calgary Cougars, they just lost 7-2 to what was not that just a few days ago what I would consider the worst team in this league that I have made. That's a team we'll get to in just a moment. But ooh, it's bad. It's very bad for the Calgary Cougars. Something went wrong in that game. Something happened. Because their defense just imploded. So the next team. If you're paying attention to what I said and you have a bit of context, you should have seen this one coming. The Austin Bandits. So, they're 3-4, and not that long ago they were 1-3 they were 1-2, 1-2-0. I think they ended up being like 1-3-0, 1-4-0 even. Now they're 3-4. They're actually winning games now, and they won a big one, 7-2, over the Calgary Cougars. So, I'm still hesitant to move them up the board because there's still some teams that are not doing great that I put ahead of them. Standings are a bit part of this too, but mainly the results and also like the goal differential. So the next team we're going to be covering, this one, if Calgary didn't have such a bad game on Saturday against the Bandits, I think this team would be dead last, or at least second to last. I might have flipped. I would have moved something down in the bottom row. And this time it's 4 rows instead of 3. So for number 10, who do I want to go with? Hey, who was it? Shoot. Yeah, I remember. Here's number 10. I forgot who it was for second. I kind of have like a vague idea of where I'm going to put people before I do this, but I don't like, I can't just make this on the fly almost. So the Denver Dragons, I'll put here. If Calgary didn't have a bad result against Austin, this would be completely different. It would still be these 3 teams, just in a different order. So the Denver Dragons, they haven't. And the main reason is it's because their losses have not been that bad. Although their goal differential, it's bad mainly because they had bad losses to start off early. Although now the games they lost by like 1 or 2 instead of like by 4 or 5. They're still losing, but not bad. They're not terrible losses. Some of them are against good teams too. So I think 10 is a fair ranking for them. So we move to the third row, number 9. We have. We're going to put it 9. See, this is what I mean by doing these on the fly. I'm deciding right now where I want. This team So I didn't go over where these teams were last week, so I believe all these teams. I think Denver was a bit higher. I think they were like 8th or 9th. I can check it right now. So I'll go for before I put number 9 on the board. So last week, number 12. So the Bandits, they move up by 1 spot. The Calgary Cougars, they moved down by 2 spots. And the Dragons, they get pushed. They only move down to 1 spot. So Denver, they were 9th last week. So they moved down a spot. And the next team will be. You might have seen my phone. Hopefully not. Number 9, the Yellow Monsters. So Los Angeles. They're 3-3-1. They were like 3-1-1. They lost a couple games, and it's they're against the teams down. At least one of them was against the teams down here. Yikes. One was against Kansas City. I don't know, because the next team, I can make an argument for either. These ones. I'm going to go with it. So number 8 is the Miami Vipers. So the Miami Vipers, for them, the thing here is, Miami, most of their opponents have been good opponents. They're playing the teams in the top 5 mostly. So I can't rank them harsher as LA because they haven't really played. I think none of their losses have been against a team below them, if that makes any sense. They might have lost to LA. I think they might have lost to LA. Maybe. That was before the first power ranking, so I'm going to leave it as is. Alright, so number 7. Number 7. So for the Miami Vipers, last week, Miami, they were 7, so they get pushed down to 8th. And for number 7, Number seven for this week. This team, they moved down 3 spots. Moving 3 down spots from last week. So we have the Minnesota North Stars. So the North Stars, I'm on my board for it. That's what the cut was. The North Stars for them. So Minnesota. Honestly, I probably could have put them lower, but actually, you know what? Where's my eraser? We gotta change up here. We gotta change up. Now the pitch in baseball. Only if I knew where my eraser was. It's behind the board. I guess I don't have to cut, so because it wasn't long enough to be worth cutting. Maybe I'll cut this anyway, I don't know. So yeah, back to the topic at hand. So Minnesota, that's why I moved them, because Minnesota, they had a really bad game against Seattle. That's why I moved them. Or I didn't really think of that when I put them at 7. So actually, they go down 5 spots. That's a big drop for the North Stars. I mean, the Vipers, now their losses have been like crazy ones, like none of them have been against any one of these 2 teams, Calgary or Austin. And now, for next one, we got a big mover, a big team moving way up. Unlike Minnesota, basically the opposite of Minnesota. Alright, so they move up 5 spots. I don't know why I had to do that. I could have just done simple math in my head. So this team, they move up 5 spots from last week. And that team is the New York Eagles. So New York, hold on there. I guess I'm going to rewrite a 6 right in front of you. So the New York Eagles, they were 1-3-1. For the last power rankings, they were I believe they were 1-3-1. Okay, they were rough. They were in 11th place, and they have moved up 1, 2, 3, 5 spots because now they're on a 3-game winning streak. So, congrats to the New York Eagles. They're doing fantastic right now. So, it's quite impressive. And if it continues, I'll probably do a video on that. If it gets to 5, how about that? I'll make a statement. If the winning streak gets to 5, I'll do a video on them. So the next team, this team, I'm probably being a bit generous because this team, kind of like Minnesota, they've fallen, but they're falling. They're basically in a nosedive, but the ship could turn around because it's not too bad yet. And that team they were 3rd last week, so moving down 2 spots from last week, the San Diego Sharpshooters. San Diego, their problem, they keep losing. So they were 4-2-0 just before last week's power rankings. And now they've fallen to 4-4. So back-to-back losses right there. Heck, actually might have been 3 losses in a row. Right now, I'm gonna put them here just because. But if they lose another game, they could be around where Minnesota is right now. So San Diego better get it together. So I'm probably ranking them a bit high, but New York, I just want to see. Honestly, if I won't change it, but if I redo this again, I'd flip. I think I'd flip New York and San Diego. I think I would, but for this, I'm gonna leave it as this. So again, while New York might redo this, I want to see if it can. Or does this continue? Because it could be like a fluke. It's only a 24-game schedule, so yeah, a lot of me rambling. We're gonna move on. So number 4. Number 4. Another team that's falling apart. They were number 1 last week, so they're going down 3 spots. Similar story with this team as with San Diego. They're not as far along as Minnesota or even San Diego for that matter, but the Winnipeg Wolfpack. They were, I believe, either 5. I believe they were 5-1-0. They were 5-1-0 in the last power rankings. This week they're 5-3 or 5-3-0. But again, 0 doesn't really matter. So back-to-back losses for the Wolfpack. Very similar story with them as with San Diego. They've got to get back on track. And the thing I could say here, they were the best team in the league. But we have a new crown. So the Wolfpack, yeah, they're falling down. They need to get things back into high gear. So the next team. So number 3. So our number 3 choice, the Philadelphia Falcons. Philly, they look fantastic. That's all I need to say. So the record right now, Philly, they're 5-3 right now. Big improvement. I believe they were like 3-3, either 3-3 or 2-3 in last week's power rankings. They're on a roll. That's my point here. They are on a roll. And they shut out Winnipeg tonight 5-0. Actually, a couple nights ago on Saturday night, they shut them out 5. No, hold on. Wrong score. Maybe I'm thinking of Minnesota. I don't know where the 0 came from. They shut them out 6-4. That was the score. 6-4 win. They beat them 6-4. High scoring game. But Winnipeg couldn't score enough. They get the win, so they're above Winnipeg. All right, so the next team, very big. So Philadelphia. Last week, I believe they were like either 4th or 5th. So the Philadelphia Falcons, they move up to 1 spot. And the next team, this team moved up, another big mover. They moved up 3 spots from last week. The Seattle Stingrays. So, according to the standings, they're now the second best team in the league. They have the same amount of wins as team number 1, which we'll get to in a moment. And it's not like these games are close, although half their opponents are down here. But they're scoring a ridiculous amount. Their goal differential, and they're not giving much up. They have the best goal differential stats in the league. So, because I am tracking that, although I don't usually put that on the board. So their goal differential is a whop. Okay, the stat's wrong, but their goal differential is a. No, it's right. Hold on. Yeah, I think we'll have another switcheroo. Because I mix teams up. Yeah. Because of this fact alone, I'm switching these 2 teams. Because I mixed them up. This is a sign I didn't think about this too much. I didn't overlook the data clear enough. So number 3, the Seattle Stingrays. Since they only have an 8+8 goal differential, they are doing fantastic, but because of this team, because of Philly, they're number 3, because it's a stat with Philly that's getting them this high. They are 5-3, but their goal differential is a whopping +16. Yes, they've scored 16 more goals than they gave up. That's actually insane. Nobody else is in double digits. And either way, even. There's nobody in double digits in the negatives. There's nobody double digits in the positives. Phillies, with the exception of the Philadelphia Falcons. That is why they're number 2. That sole fact alone. So number 1, this should not be a surprise if you've been following this league. The Kansas City Wings, number 1 this week. They're the only team left without a regulation loss. 6-0-2. 14 points of the season. Most points. They're number 1 in the standings. They're just finding ways to get wins. A couple nights ago, their most recent game, the 3-1 win over the LA Monsters. So that's my list. Yell at me in the comments if anyone cares enough to do that. Although I'm not covering the NHL, so this would not get probably enough coverage for there to be a crap ton of hate comments. I don't think this would have hate comments, because I think these are pretty fair rankings, but so maybe go, oh, why is the team I like not high enough? I haven't dealt with any of that yet, and I hope I don't have to. But anyway, enough of me rambling. That'll do it for this one, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.